we're back now. We've all come together to have this extra hangout with Cece, but we're waiting for Cece to join us, and hopefully someone else. What's his name? We've got
Lee
hangout.
Guna Edwards,
Lee Edwards.
a man of honour, integrity. He's he lives up north. He was born in North London, living up in Leeds, and I thought it'd be good to add him in the mix. You know, he's got a few things he's got to tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, he's got some experiences he can and advice, so I think he'll be good.
Yes.
You know, let us know what's going on up north. You know, up North London, north of England. What's happening up there?
So
he's an Arsenal supporter.
We're patiently waiting for Cece and Lee to come on.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Oh, you know what happened? I will explain this. I don't know what happened. My admin panel jumped and I deleted the wrong video and I deleted our hangout, but I've obviously added it back, but I deleted the hangout.
Yeah, no worries. I saw it anyway.
Yes.
I left a message anyway.
Yeah, so Amy put a message on there, but I deleted it by accident. So anybody who watched it and thought, oh, it's back on again. I accidentally deleted it, but added it back to the channel.
Yeah, and thanks to Marilyn Wispy as well. She left a message.
Yes.
So that was nice to hear from her.
Oh, yes.
She's having a nice weekend. Coming up to it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that hangout. We were quite bouncy and everything. It's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I think it's great that we've all brought in some good news. You know what I mean? You know, that's necessary in these hard times, these weird times we're living in.
Oh yes, exactly. Yes, I agree.
It's hard to know what to call it. I don't think we've ever been before in our life. I don't think the Spanish flu was what it was, and that was something different. We're not reacting like those people, and whatever that was, and it's just such a strange time. But I was talking today. I've said we're not talking about the economy or anything, but on the other hand, this is what I imagined one day. Trump says to all these countries, just call them countries for now, you know, Putin and all that, although they're all cartoons. Everybody's all right then, everybody ready, secured, everything's fine. And then he goes behind the curtain and he goes to, well, we've just got to close up. But everybody's actually okay. And this is why shops like Tesco's and Lidl's, all these are open because it was planned. And what it is the small businesses, their rates have been paid right up to the end of July. So Basis Woman said July, August, they'd be opening up. So, you know what I mean? It's planned. And all this money's been plowed in. So I just think that they obviously, everything into what we think it is. That's what I think. We're either in a real mess and we're never going to come out. You'll be driving around in the same car for the next 10 years. Or everything is tickety-boo. They're lying to us about all the figures all the time. The economies are great. And the shutdown was them using the NASA money.
Yeah, that's what I think.
NASA is closed right now. NASA is closed right now. So that's $57 million a day they can use, supposedly.
Right. Well, I think it's about the national security, the NSA. I think that because I was looking at their website and they really want to get in on this cyber security and just getting as much, from what I gather, just getting as much information.
That NASA cognitive engineering?
Well,
hey, that's easy.
No, National Security Agency. Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Cece.
Hey,
what's going on? How are you? Hey, Jin. Hey, Amy. How are you, Karen?
Hey, Cece.
Hello, my darling.
How are you?
Just depressed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what you mean.
You know, I mean, mainly it's just because I just see so many trained people around me. I mean, and now we're dealing with 99% of the people are now wearing face masks. And now they have these colorful face masks, you know, because they're buying them off of line, obviously.
I know.
Some of them have
so
got like
become a fashion statement.
You know, like how they breathe around their nose. It might be shaped in a certain way, and it looks more like a face mask. You know, like a face mask.
Yeah. They look. It looks like they have a beak.
Yeah.
I think the mask manufacturers are making money hand over fist, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. I
I
mean,
think
forget
so.
about it. You know.
That's why
Yes.
some I think
Yeah.
people
Jin,
are
do you want to
fighting
just explain?
for them.
Oh, what
Oh,
idiots.
absolutely.
They don't even work. But Jin, can you just explain to Cece that someone's joining us? Someone else.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Cece, yeah, I've got a friend. His name is Lee Gooner Edwards. He'll be joining us shortly. He's from the north of England.
Okay.
He was born in London. He's living up north of England. He's a family man. He's got some horses and that. And I think his life is interesting. He's a flat earther, and I think he's got a lot to add to this group we got here. So hopefully he'll join
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's great.
Terrific. Sounds good.
yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I know what you mean with the depressed bit of it, because I mean, what is it about people where they don't bother to look for info? I mean, this is a frightening situation. I mean, you're going to check to make sure that it's real. You're not just going to upload. You know what I mean? You know, you're not, are you?
That's
You know?
right.
Yeah. No. Exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right.
And these people are just uploading it straight out of the government's mouth, and that's it. They're not
And they're
even
not looking.
checking.
Yes.
They're not looking anything up. They're not
Yeah.
investigating it. They're not doing anything at all. Just for the last 4 weeks here,
Right. I
everybody
mean,
has just fallen for this.
you
I
remember this when the
know.
SARS virus happened? Yeah, the SARS
Yeah.
virus. I'm
Yeah,
here
it
in
was big.
Japan in this very room. I had the clamshell type phone back in those days. You know, the ones that look like the women's compact.
Yes.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't
I always
put those
felt those
phones
women were a
down.
little bit effeminate. I always felt that. But anyway, I had that phone, yeah, from Vodafone, and I thought to myself, let me check on this pandemic, the SARS. Something said to me, I better check to see how dangerous it is, because it's sounding serious. You know, at
Yeah.
first it was in China, then it went to America, it came from Mexico. I'm thinking, let me check, because it sounded serious here. A pig in Mexico, so let me just check. So I checked it. Turns out it happened before, back in the 18 something. That was back when SARS hit us, right? So I checked
Uh-huh.
everything, and I realized there was no need to panic. I thought, I'm not going to buy masks. There's no need to take the injections. So I said to my kids who were going to school at the time, don't take any injections from the teachers. You don't need it, okay? If I wear a mask, you wear one, okay? Then you need the injection. You don't need it. And then all
Right.
around me back then, everyone was panicking, you know, buying all the masks in the shop. They sold out. Really panicking here in Japan back then, okay? But at least I checked. Something said to me, check to make
Yes.
sure that it's a real danger. And I checked it, and it wasn't a real danger. So I don't understand what the disconnect is with people. Why are they not checking?
I
Oh,
know. They're just don't have the like the I don't want to say the mentality, but I was watching when the Quantum of Conscious channel, I think is called,
right.
and he was saying
Yeah,
that
I've watched them. Yeah.
people, yeah, people like us that we don't, we check things out. He was describing it like we almost have an armor around us, where a lot of the people, they just can't help but go along with
Yeah.
whatever that they're telling us is the new normal. They're like, okay, and I was demonstrating how that's normal, like whatever they're told is the normal thing, wear mask and
Right.
social
Amy, you know when
distancing
you
and all
said
that.
that,
And whereas,
Amy, you know
yeah,
when you said that, oh man, that's exactly what that Richard D. Hall said. And in that, he's saying that you cannot shout or get angry with these people because they're victims.
yes,
The people, the adverts, the people that
yes,
have put this stuff out, they're the ones we
that's
should be
right.
gunning for. The rest are just everybody else is just a victim.
I agree with
Yes,
that, and
that's right. I
I'm not even gonna
remember
Because
bother.
that.
if you're
Yeah.
drowning in the water, would you tell that person they're drowning in the water, or would you
Yeah.
try and sort out other solutions? And because they're victims, you can't shout at them.
You
Exactly.
can't, and there's no point to, because all it's going to lead into is just this big contest between both of you, where this one has been fed what they believe on the
Right.
networks that they've been watching, obviously, for 24/7, and you're trying to explain to them that this virus does not actually, it does not move around like they've said it does. Actually,
Yeah.
now they've retracted everything, where it's not even on surfaces as long as they say it is. Originally it was 7 to 14 days. Now they're saying 3
Yeah.
days. Now they're saying 2 days. And but they're just regurgitating all of the nonsense that they learned, just like flat Earth. I mean, every time somebody attacks us with flat Earth, it's the same nonsense that they've been regurgitating that they learned when they were children.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they keep coming back at us over and over and over again.
Well, it's
But
funny.
they haven't done any
It's funny
investigation.
you say that. I was in a server, a Discord server, by the name of Jose JG Gonzalez. Now, he used to be a flat earther, and he's since gone back to the heliocentric model. Now, I said to myself, I was thinking to myself, he couldn't have been a flat earther in the first place, or he's doing it as for business. You know, it's because it's quite straight. Once you know the truth, you know, there's no way of going back. But you can go back and make money, kind of thing,
Right.
you know. But I don't understand how anyone can go back. So I was on his server with other heliocentrists, and I think it was just me on my own at one point. But I totally annihilated them with the facts, you know. Just told, you know, flat off truth all the way. They had nothing, you know. The ship disappearing over the horizon, the Coriolis effect, you know, silly things that they bring up that you can just easily debunk. They had nothing, you know.
Yeah, but there's always something that they come back with us,
Right.
with nonsense, with equations and all this other garbage. But the whole thing is that's how they've confused us to begin with anyway. When we were originally going through this, you know, before we came
Yes,
flat earthers, and
that's right.
it's all bullshit. It's there to confuse you, and there to keep the indoctrination going.
Yeah.
This is actually, I'm sorry, that noise in the background is actually a
Yeah,
Prime
that's right.
truck from Amazon
Okay, it's reversing, isn't it?
delivering packages.
Oh,
Right.
I was wondering if it was something outside my house or something. I was wondering if it was me.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry
it's
about
no
that.
go.
Yeah, no, when they
See that
back
they're
up from
What
working
here.
is
okay,
that?
then Amazon's working okay in this
Oh
pandemic,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making a bundle, the Amazon.
Do
They
you know what?
said,
Do you know
Oh,
what about what
yeah.
Cece's talking about? Sorry, Amy. What Cece's talking about? What sounds more weird, that we're not moving or we're travelling at Mach 80 in 3?
Just absurd, that number. I remember, I never knew how far the sun was actually before I became a flat earther. So I didn't
no,
really, I didn't really think about the distance the sun was from to the earth. But when I actually heard the number, I dropped my apple. I thought, what? Are you kidding? 3 million miles? What's going on here? It's not even it's for sure. It's not even 1,000,000 miles. So
And then you have to
you
get your
know,
head round that it might only be really what we're seeing is 9.3 miles away, if that, even if that. And you've got to get your head
yeah,
round that
Yeah.
it gets closer and closer and closer
yeah,
and closer. The more you wake up, no matter what you think, just
it's
look up
true.
at the
You
sky.
know, it's
There it
true.
is. It is.
Because aircrafts, right? Jet airliners fly at 5 miles from the Earth's
Oh, that's
surface.
what they
Okay,
tell us.
I've got
52.5 miles. They're
I,
lying about the figures.
yeah, yeah. I'm just saying that, I've been up in an aircraft, I'm sure we all have. And, if when you're up there, 5 miles up you are, above the Earth's surface, yeah? And the sun looks so close.
I know.
It
Do you know
looks
what
so
they've got to
close.
do? Listen, when
You
you
could
go
almost
up in a
fly
high
to it.
altitude balloon, it follows the blue sky up and then it goes out of the blue sky into the black. And when it looks down, there's no blue sky. So they can't
Yeah,
let planes go higher than that anyway. Even could. So they've got
yeah,
to keep us in the blue sky, even if we're quite close to the edge. We're either quite
yeah,
close to the edge when we're flying, or we're not flying at the height they tell us we are.
Right.
yeah. Something's not right there, yeah. Because they reckon the Kármán line, that's where space begins, is 60 miles, 62 miles up. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So if that being the case, you know,
It's
I've
probably
seen,
it's probably 6 miles.
sorry?
It's probably 6 miles.
Yeah, for all we know,
Because
for all we
Martin
know.
Leakey brought
Because
it
I've
up
seen,
one day. He said, if we can only burrow, but then again, negation from the Russians, if you can only burrow 8 miles down, you can only go 8 miles up.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing.
well, yeah,
Nobody ever looks into that. Why can't we dig down? Why don't we have equipment that can dig down more than 8 miles?
And that
And then
last bit, the Russians spent
Right.
like about a whole 5 years going a mile. And the machinery kept breaking, so they say. They just couldn't get any further.
No, and that was the cause because of high
That's
heat.
what they're publicly. You don't know what they did privately.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's totally ridiculous. I mean, nobody investigates any of this stuff. They just come back and they jab at you, and that's fine. You know what? I don't care. At this point, I have been, numb to all of the nonsense coming.
That's it. You're resilient.
Jin, listen.
You're immune.
Supposedly, at Alaska, there is the Bering Straits, right? And there's only 60 odd miles there. Why don't they just go and kill each other at source? They could just do it across the water. 60 miles is not that far. No, they have to take it across the rest of the world because they're not together. So they have to come across the rest of us to include us in some stupid thing when they could actually just go up to Alaska and Russia could fire at each other because it's only 60 miles.
Speaking of Alaska, there's a flat earther by the name of D. Marble and another guy called Sergey. Now, on different occasions, they went up there and they videoed the 24-hour sun. You see it. It's a beautiful spectacle if you could ever see it. You see the sun for 24 hours all day long, and it kind of like goes as it's circulating the earth, above our heads. It kind of goes up and down in waves, but it's still, you can see it clearly, right? But there isn't one at the South Pole, and they've been down there for 60 years supposedly. No 24-hour sun visibility or videos exist of the 24-hour sun like you get at the North Pole. You don't get it at the South Pole. Why not, I wonder?
Yeah, and it's funny because, I mean, and if you do get something, it's been spliced, cut, edited.
Well said.
All the
and it's
stuff
a CGI sun. The sun is CGI'd. It's not a real sun at all.
Yeah.
It's too white.
I mean, it's really, this is all stuff people should just, look at, just check it out. Look into it. I mean, there's nothing that we can convince anybody with flat Earth. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't even bother. I'll hand out a card. I'll hand out my little 2 cents, and then that's it. And you know what? Let them, go check it out. They know how to contact me.
That's what I say. That's exactly what I say to them. Is look, everything I've given you is irrefutable facts. The fact is, if the Earth in its entirety was a spherical ball, flat Earthers wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be around telling you this. Come on.
We wouldn't be doing this, risking everything that we have. I mean, really, why would we be wasting our time?
And you know what? When you get this far into it, the truth for so long, it's such a burden. Right now, all those people believing that this thing is real and what they've done to people, and all of us can see it. And it's mind-blowing, though, isn't it? It's even worse than the ones that believe it.
Yes.
And we still don't really know what the truth is anymore or where we're going.
Well, that's why they have created what we're in right now. And I every time I wake up, I'm like, oh man, it's still going on. I thought this was over already. I thought this was a dream, but it's not. It just seems like it's getting worse. It just give you a quick thing here in New York, what they're doing. Here, let me get the. I'm actually in my car right now. There's a couple of people that were actually entertaining tonight, so we're breaking the social. We're breaking the 6 foot whatever the rule bullshit is.
Yeah.
Yeah, social distancing. Okay, I forgot about that, but yeah. Let me just see how we do this here. Yeah, there I am. Okay, you can see me now. All right, yeah, and I mean that's really how it is that the fact that they're not investigating, they're not looking anything up. When I give information out to people, I would like them just to check everything out. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I'm not going to argue with people about this because they've been indoctrinated like we were. And I was heavily indoctrinated. I was so into Star Trek. I was so into going to Mars. Oh, and I'm sorry. Don't forget, SpaceX is taking off on the 27th of May and with 3 astronauts, which are all military. Okay, and that's the only people that go up there. I mean, they've militarized space. That was the big thing back in the 60s. They had to do that. So we've got 3 people going up there to the ISS, the International Swimming Station, and it's taking off at 4:30. But check out the time. You know, I love the numbers because they're saying F you, you know, flat earthers, we know you're out there. So they put this time at 4:33 for the launch. All right. I mean, it's classic. I love it. I love it. It's just great. It's great. Sorry. Just wanted to put that in there. So don't forget about that launch and watch this rocket just turn and go straight into the atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Straight into Bermuda Triangle, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't really know where they probably that's got to be it because I mean, when they do these things, yeah.
Cece, I think your next job, you should be a comedian.
Nah.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
a good one. Yeah.
you pick the subject and then you laugh about the rest. Because, you know, if you don't laugh about it, we're going to go crazy, I think.
I know.
Well, you know, it's funny because I that's all we can do right now is just laugh about this, and it's sad because I want to rip these face masks off these people and just try to explain to them, look, you're breathing in the air from a park. You're jogging. You're in your car alone by yourself, wearing face masks and gloves. I'm like, fuck, gloves in your car by yourself. I mean, people can have the cleanest car in the world.
Yes.
Really, man. It is ridiculous, really. You know, I know what you mean. I mean, look, if someone spat on you and coughed on you all day long, you couldn't contract
No.
it. Come on, people.
Right.
What's going on, man?
They don't know how viruses work.
They don't know. They haven't looked into it. They have not looked into it. That's the thing.
Well,
do the research, folks. Please do the research before you dismiss what we say.
The
look into it.
beaches are opening up, you know, for the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
But you have to wear
actually,
your mask.
it's been cool here.
You had to wear a mask when the
Oh. I'll never wear it. I'll never wear one.
If this is the reason why we're here right now, and we you know, and at our place because, well, first off, it was actually chilly here in New York today, so it's not really a beach day. The sun just came out.
Yeah.
Right when I got on, so it's been cloudy, chilly. It's been like 60 degrees on the beach. I think the beach temperature right now is like 55 degrees. Who the hell wants to go there anyway?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, no. What I heard is the public beaches are now going to have people that are going to be there to make sure that, one, you don't have a cooler.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't go to the beach with a cooler. The public restrooms are not open. There are no outdoor activities at all.
Crazy. This is everything about the way we live is just changing in front of us. So it's not a problem anymore. It's
absolutely.
a ball bag. It's not a gun. It's a ball bag.
The thing is, you're right. The thing is, right, our taxes pay to keep this beach in pristine. So I will use it as I see fit. And what should happen is that everyone should gang together and beat these security guards up and throw them out throw them in the sea. Just throw them in the sea. Pick them up and throw them in the sea. You know?
Yes.
That's what you got to do. You know what I mean? You know, in mass, everybody. This is our beach. Now either you go home and dry off and join us, or stay home and wear your mask, you mug.
Exactly, Jen, and you know what? Their explanation of us not going into the water is because they can't afford to pay for the lifeguards. You know, so if there's no lifeguard, exactly, that's such bullshit. They can't pay for lifeguards.
Crap, anyway.
I mean, they're giving everybody a stimulus package, you know, checks, and you can't. You telling me that you know the park? Forget it. It's just really annoying.
I know how you feel, man. It's look, when a woman of 60 is saying, I can't believe people are taking this, they're not standing up. And a 60-year-old woman saying, where's the revolution? Yeah. Oh, I was shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, man, she's right. Why are they taking this?
I've
Why are
heard,
they taking this?
I mean, I've heard children, going back to school because they're thinking about opening up summer school. So I think some of the schools at this point, here in New York, they might be doing, well, not in New York, in other states, um, doing something like a summer school activity or something. And then I'm looking at a video with, like a 10-year-old kid who's crying, and she doesn't understand what is going on. Why can't I go near my friends? Why can't I go near? Why can't we use the bathroom? Why can't we use the cafeteria? I mean, this girl's in tears. I mean, they've destroyed.
Silly, isn't it? It's wrong.
Uh, uh,
Absolutely wrong, man.
What they're doing is, I mean, to a point where I don't know. Maybe they'll forget about it, hopefully, in a few months. But I don't think it's going to go back to its original thing, because how could they do all of this with the schools? I mean, how are they going to get schools back to normal where it's just going to be a regular day, where you can go out in the playground, you can use the restrooms, you can go into the cafeteria and sit next to your friend? I mean, yeah. You have to understand, when we were that young, and now you're going to take all of that away that we grew up with. Yeah, people that are kids that are going into first grade where they don't understand, how school it should be. But the kids that are 15 years old, high school, middle school, whatever, that have been living this, and now all of a sudden all of it's been taken away because of the politicians. And
I think it's like
I,
this as well, CC, because they've been going on about this materialistic system that we're in. They've pushed us that way. Lots of people have got debt, and right now your legs have been chopped off, and now we're in a state, the state's paying for everything.
yeah, well, yeah, well, to a point, and that's not going to last very long. People are really comfy right now. That most of them have. As a matter of fact, one thing, smaller businesses are starting to open up. They're thinking about doing it in, I think it's next week on Wednesday, and I've heard most of them can't even get their previous employers to even work for them, because they're actually making more money on collecting money from the government right now. And here in New York, I think the unemployment checks are like, my guess is 350. What they also done is they've given you an extra $600 a week. So these 20-somethings are now making close to $1,200 a week. I mean, that's almost how much a cop gets paid. That's a $50,000
Amazing.
salary. Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, it's more than $50,000, close to $60,000. Now you're going to go back and you're going to stuff cannolis? No, please.
No, yeah, you're not going to go back. Yes, you're right.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
no one wants to
I,
go back to
can't,
that.
I can't remember whether CC was around for this bit, but if the New World Order meant a much better life and more peaceful and harmful, and it was for the people, we wouldn't mind so much. But it's just going to be the same crap. We're just going to be controlled more.
Oh yes, that's right. It's all about the control. That's what I think it's all about.
Quite exhausting,
And,
really, isn't it? Because I just don't know what the answer is right now to anything. I've got no answers either, because I just don't know if we really understand what we're in right now.
Well, I mean, do you
it's hard
think
to understand.
do you think we've created this? I mean, all flat earthers, I mean,
I do
being in this
remember your
situation.
video, DC, saying that we're the
Yeah.
reason that we're here.
Yeah, I highly believe it is. I mean, you know what they say?
Yeah.
Look, it's good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Come on. They know, we know, they know.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
exactly.
yes.
And you know what they're saying?
Done this. That's why they've done this. Look, there was the flat earth hit the media, so they know, we know, they know. You had France, 24-hour, all day long revolution, and then they moved it to weekends only. Then you had, who is it? China, Hong Kong, right? Italy, disputes against their demonstrations against their democratically elected new president. They didn't like him.
Yeah, but listen, something always weird happens. Like, in a way, they've been feeding us all this rubbish. They've been feeding us all the rubbish. They've been on those podiums every day, the fake president and all that kind of stuff, and fake prime minister. But then what it was is, I was watching one the other day when they put up the chart. So it said something like the Netherlands had 25%, and it gets to England was on 15%. America was on 11%, and they put China at 0.3.
Yes.
And then nobody knows
Amazing.
there's a problem here.
It's really, I mean,
I mean, how
it's
is
comical.
it America has the most deaths?
Right.
You know,
Well,
why?
now-
Why the US?
No,
Now-
it wasn't the
Nuts.
US. It was somewhere like Holland, but they were on 25%. England was on 15. America was on 11 point something, but China was on 0.3.
Yes. But I think
It's
Trump
just,
was
it's like,
trying to say
what don't people
that was
see?
wrong.
What don't they see? What don't they see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah, it's all China's fault, isn't it?
But
That's
Actually,
what
now
Trump
looking at
keeps saying, doesn't he? Trump
Yeah.
keeps saying, blame China.
it's a
Blame
new
China.
Yeah.
The new thing in the U.S. is now the politicians
Right.
are saying it came from Europe. Okay, so
Oh,
originally
here we
this
go.
came from Europe. All right, so millions of people in Europe were infected, and they came here because they went to JFK, they went to LaGuardia Airport. These are all the major airports here in New York, and that's how it spread. So now they're taking China out of it, And I mean, really, look, I knew it was such bullshit when. I think they got me for like maybe 30 minutes. Okay, I was worried. Oh shit, because then I was thinking about this. What Jim was talking about the SARS, and then there was actually
Yes.
something else in Rockland County with the Hasidic community. That was a big thing. I think this happened last year. I forget what name of that virus was, and everybody was nervous about that. But they're not walking around with
Yeah.
face masks,
Was
to a
that
Right.
point.
Zika? Was it Zika?
And
Yeah.
and a few years ago, like
It
voting
might have
this thing about
been.
Europe, coming out of Europe, that caused a big dip because my work changed a lot for a while. We could have had what we had now then, but it just didn't quite happen worldwide. But it did here in the UK. We got devalued again then. So they have these things periodically.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And Karen, I mean that's what I mean.
What about
It
that
came
stupid
out a few years ago.
impeachment? What about the impeachment?
Oh, that's gone. What about the terrorist acts? Gone. What about, anything in the schools? Gone. I mean, really, now what I'm seeing are fires. I'm seeing a lot of, natural disasters that are happening here in the U.S. There was,
Right.
and
Okay.
of course, the big flood that happened. And you were right. I checked that out, Karen. It was 2 dams, but if you look at these dams, these things were pretty much half-assed put together. I mean, they don't look like they're more than 30 years old, and I mean,
Right. So they
it's
weren't
like,
very good in the first place. They
yeah,
weren't
they were
sound.
constructed.
Wow.
Whoever was the architectural engineer of these things really did a sloppy job. And
Or need to be put in prison.
yeah, exactly. And their whole excuse is that, yeah, they had an overrun of water. That'll do it. They had a lot of rain there, which they did. I checked it out, and that's what caused this. I mean, it was just exactly what happened in New Orleans, with Hurricane Sandy. Same situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just poorly constructed. That was done by the military, set up, I'm sure, to destroy that whole area. And when Obama was in presidency at that time, they couldn't even get water out to these
Right.
victims. These refugees, which were hurting really, really bad. I mean, they couldn't get out of there. I mean, it was a total miscommunication through the government, and it was just done half-assed. And once again, this is done half-assed too. This should have been taken
Yeah.
care of. And that's why I know it's complete bullshit. Initially, right when I told my significant other, when I heard it in China back in February, this is going to be here.
There you go.
This is going to be here in New York. I guarantee you in the next couple of weeks. Bam, New York hit, and then it just rushed through the entire country within, I don't know what,
Well,
5-day
I
period.
I had my suspicions back in December when they said
Okay,
the
there you
virus
go.
coming, and there was a doctor trying to warn us. Okay, so you go through your Christmas holidays, and that January comes along,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, why is it that China is the place for these viruses? What's going on over there? I'm thinking.
Yeah, they're eating
and then
bats.
suddenly, it's Italy's got more numbers than China as it starts to grow. Iran, 500 die in one day. That's when I just said, it's crap.
Right.
500 in one day.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
In
it's just
Iran, a hot climate country, Iran, 500 people die in one day. You go to sleep, you wake up 500 dead.
And don't forget, they told us that
Yeah.
this thing only
How?
worked when it was cold. So why would it be working in some places then? They're hot.
Yeah, like
That's
Africa or
right.
even bloody Iran. How could that be? What about the countries in between? What happened, man? I just said this is rubbish, absolute
Well,
rubbish.
what about the third
I've
world
given up.
countries like Mexico? I have heard nothing about that, and
There
they're
you go.
not known for cleanliness in that country. But
There you go.
nothing. The media doesn't talk about that. You know, I mean, we've got several other countries, Puerto Rico. Haven't heard anything about them
That's right.
at
They're
all.
very low numbers down there in South
Yeah,
America.
very low
Very low
numbers
numbers.
in conditions where people, I mean, are not
Living in
washing their
squalor
hands.
almost.
Yeah,
You know?
mostly, exactly. I mean, even Iran. I mean, even I mean, just the entire Middle East. Even my country, Greece, are not known for cleanliness either. You know, I've heard
Yeah.
nothing really in Greece. You know, I mean,
Exactly. Nothing in
I don't
Greece.
see any Greeks walking around with hand sanitizers 24 hours a day and
There
fucking
you
face
go. There you
masks.
go.
You know, I mean,
Yeah, let's
really.
have a look. Let me have a look at Greece.
Yeah,
Actually.
take a look at Greece. Let me see my home country. How they doing out there?
What
I mean,
the
because they
hell's
had the
happening in
depression
Greece?
already.
That's a very good point. You know
Oh.
what I mean? Yeah. They can't afford. They can't afford to have this.
They already
perfect life.
ganged up on Greece a few years ago. Remember, they all were queuing to get money out of their bank accounts a
Yeah,
few
they
years.
can't afford to
Yes.
have. They can't
I
afford to
remember
have the
that. Yeah.
pandemic. They can't afford it.
No, they can't. They can't. And I mean, like just any other country is the same thing. I mean, it's just mostly Italy, America, the UK. You know, I mean, that's what they're concentrating on, and that's and right now, where is it's
Yeah.
exploding somewhere? I forget. Is it? I can't look it up because I'm doing the live stream with you guys. But if you look it up, it just exploded somewhere in another country. I should have taken a look at it before.
You always know, though,
Yeah, I
don't
think I
you, that
saw that somewhere too.
when
Yeah.
they plan these things, there's always 9,000 things happening at once. So
Mhm.
whenever they do something, it's like rounding up a whole section of things that they want us to do. And then, of course, by the time the politics comes around, we'll want their changes because they're going to save us.
I know,
That's
I know, and
right.
they'll throw you a check for being a good patron. You know, and we'll give you $1,100. We'll give you a couple, $2,200, and we'll, but really, that's nothing. That's peanuts to what people's mortgages are and
Oh,
lives are.
yeah.
And I mean, we have tuition to pay, and I'm not on unemployment. I'm not collecting that. I'm still working. I mean, I worked all day yesterday, Memorial Day weekend. I mean, Memorial Day weekend's a
Do you think
vacation.
that'll cause a divide when half are going, no, 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 we're on benefits, but you've got to work? Do you
Yeah.
think it might cause a bit of a divide between those that are on benefits and workers?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, anything to cause division, get people, against each other, or just keep people divided. So you'll have the people that, look at me, I just get the benefits, but you have to work, and they could get resentful toward
Mm-hmm.
each other,
Okay, Greece.
And I know the federal government.
Jen found it.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I want
Greece. Hang on, Greece has got
2,000.
2,878 cases with
That's it.
171 deaths. That's all.
That's it. Okay, what a pandemic. I guess the politicians in Greece are really not paying attention to that at all whatsoever. I think everything's pretty much opened out there.
How come
But
it misses some of the countries?
Listen. And recovery was 1,374 recovered from the illness.
oh wait,
1,374.
Maybe
The
1,074. Okay.
Greece is doing quite well in the what you call it, the New World Order right now. Maybe that's why they're where they are. Because
Yeah.
there's something
Right.
weird going on. Because I've said it before, but I was listening to Boris giving a speech in the United Nations, and he was talking about pluralism. Go and look up pluralism. It's about how you work together with other people. And he was going, pluralism. It's just
Yeah.
another word for New World Order. They're already there. We're already in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly what we're in right now. I mean, how are you going to get a civilization right now to go back, you know, where they've just become so paranoid right now about everything, and
I
scared,
know.
scared and frightened, where they just can't even walk outside. And the only time they really ever
Yes.
come out now, well, it's getting warmer. So we'll see what I'm curious to find out what
Yeah,
these
because you know
sheeple
what?
are going to do
Richard
now.
D. Hall
No,
talks
there's
about
going to be a
trust.
second wave. There's going to be a second wave, surely.
Richard D.
Of
Hall
course
talks
there is.
about trust. And if the people don't trust to go outside, even though they open everything up, it might be a very slow turnout for everybody to start coming out. Not us, I mean the ones that believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right, Karen. And I mean, look, it's 90%, 95% of the people here are wearing face masks. What really annoys me is the ones that are out there wearing face masks that are jogging, you know,
Yeah,
and
I'm
Right.
jogging. I don't wear no mask.
I really don't. You realize you're breathing in your CO2? I mean,
Exactly. You know,
I've
everybody's
I know.
particulates.
And you know what's even more frustrating? The nurses don't seem to know this, and they don't seem to know you can't catch a virus off anybody else. And our own nurses don't even know this.
I know.
What the
Yeah, what's
hell?
going on? You know, that is true.
What
That
is
is.
going on?
How could they
Yeah.
not know that? How could they not
How
know
could they
that?
not know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
I see it when I'm at work too. We get a lot of nurses and we get a lot of aides that I deal with, and they're pretty paranoid. But you know, they are dealing with people that have been
They've made
diagnosed.
the nurses believe something that's not right.
Of course,
I'm
and
surprised the nurses didn't check for themselves anyway.
no,
Come
no,
on, man.
it's just it's so bad. It really. I mean, they're making up all these numbers. They're making up everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's when it comes out and people actually do. I don't know if they're going to do any investigation on this. I really don't. I mean, I would think somebody who's not a flat earther, who finds that, this is worth looking into and checking out, and actually maybe going to a doctor, because I mean, there are doctors out there that are right now saying, look, these numbers have been made up. They're not true. I mean, they've yeah, it's just unbelievable. It really
Yeah,
is.
apparently
Yeah.
in Greece,
Hey,
sorry
do
to
you
go
know
to
And
something
Greece.
else?
then,
The other day, I put a little video on with Mark Steele and the nurse that played Nurse Ratchet on the video, telling you what's in the injections. YouTube
Mhm.
deleted that.
They took it. Well, that's another thing too, is I would
yeah.
like to know if one of these doctors has enough balls to go out there and take a look exactly what is in these injections that are being injected inside of our children, and everybody.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's sitting there with their arms hanging out and say, "Yeah, please inject me, inject me." With what? What exactly is it? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even go.
You do
You can't go to the
realise from the
supermarket.
document that's on, I'm a bit confused about that document because it's been put in like some newspaper as the date 20th of May 2020.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, someone said, oh, that failed in court last year. But why is it in a newspaper today if it already failed? They're saying that in it, they're saying medication and vaccines have not been tested for 32 years. 32 years we've gone on and they've not been testing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
32. Yes. There was a landmark win on Monday. Anyway, I don't know if you knew about that.
Jin, I sent that video out to quite a few people, and Mike
Right.
Helmick said, no, this failed last year. Look at the date. And there is a date. It says 2020, but there is a date of 2018. But he said, no, this
Yeah.
failed at court last year. But why are they putting that out now? It's not on a video. It's on a video now. It's on a document.
Yeah. Well, they said it's a landmark win. It
Yeah.
clearly states it. She's overjoyed. It's a landmark win. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's something that we obviously didn't know about.
Yeah, they've kept it secret. They haven't. They're trying to keep
Because
it secret
Mike
somehow.
Helmick said it's a load of rubbish. It was thrown
Yeah,
out of court
I
last
don't
year.
believe what he says. I don't believe what he says. Definitely not. I mean, look, they've been working hard to try and get something on these vaccines, and they've got it. I mean, look, it's come to light. 32 years of not checking. That can't be a lie. No documents were provided.
Well, it's also another thing too, anesthesia. I mean, they don't know
Yeah.
what that is. I mean, it was invented back in the 1800s in some psycho ward, and they don't know exactly what this is, that you're kind of not sleeping, but you're not feeling anything. I mean, it's such a freaky thing to think about, that they don't know what it is. They don't know really at all what it is. It's just something that was invented back in the 1800s, and they're giving it to everybody. The medical profession is so uncertain and such lies. And just because you have somebody with a white coat that comes to you and says, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And that's what everybody believes because they're wearing that white coat of truth.
Yeah. Yeah. That white coat of truth.
You know, it's where you have this. Make sure you have the stethoscope on there. I should have brought my jacket. I got it somewhere. I forgot that. I should have brought it. Put some glasses on, stethoscope, white coat, and there you go. Now you are God to some of these people.
Yeah. Someone just dropped out there. I think, was it Amy?
Oh, Amy's just dropped out. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
realise.
she did.
Oh, it was. Oh, she's back.
Oh, no, she's there. No, yeah, she's
No,
there.
no, I'm back. I'm back. I think
Oi.
my Wi-Fi went out, but I'm back now.
Right, okay, well, brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we have to go on a hangout very shortly. I had one with Aaron. He's talking a bit about the Lumen project. The Lumen project is a different way of being, but this hangout we're on right now goes out afterwards. But we had a talk with him the other day, so that's coming on soon. I just wondered.
Yeah, I just got a notification on there from you.
Yeah, I actually set it for 9:30, but it's coming on at 9.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna have to cut. We have a couple of people up at the place, and I just kind of came down, and I wanted to be here. I told you I'd be here on on Sunday, so I definitely wanted to talk to you
that's
guys.
oh,
nice.
thank
I
you.
enjoyed.
Thank you.
Just to let you
Yeah,
know what's going
thank
on here in New York, because don't listen to what they're saying with the press. I mean, this is a real New Yorker who's here
right.
telling you that this is all bullshit. And the only thing that they've
Yeah.
done, and the only thing that they've managed to do here in New York, is get people so divided and so
Yeah,
against each other now, where even if you walk into an aisle the wrong way, if you do it in the
yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
afternoon,
I'm all right.
you will
It's
have
9:30.
somebody come up to you. Yeah.
Sorry, the other hangout's 9:30, so we're all right for a few minutes.
Oh, good, excellent.
Yeah.
But I mean, you will have somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, you're going against the aisle." I mean,
Right.
or you're not going.
People are already saying that.
I mean, it's just
They know that something's wrong, but I'm social distancing. It's our own families are doing. That's the thing that's upset people the most is when I listen. It isn't even the masks, although that's insulting enough. It's actually that your family. Oh no, I'm social distancing. You can't come round here for weeks.
I
It's
know.
that upsets because whatever you look at it, there's still social distancing in it, whether it's you or them or all of you. It's still happening to everybody, one way or another.
Yeah, it's happening to
That's
everybody, and
right.
you know, you're now treating people like I mean, foreigners at this point, and that's basically what everybody has become.
Yes.
It's like we become these foreigners in a new land. I mean,
Yeah, I
in a way
know.
where we have to do this, we've got to do that, we've got to do this, we've got to do all these rules. And I mean, I'm not saying everybody's listening to these rules, but I mean, 90%, 95% of the people in New York are just kind of bow down and say, yes, I'm a good servant. I will obey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, same here in Baltimore, Maryland, the same way for the most
Mhm.
part. The same way. Wear your
Yeah.
mask and keep keep your distance and everything. The only good thing is we have a playground nearby. I
Someone's
might have
joined
told
us.
this.
Lee's joined
Oh,
us.
it's probably
Hello, Lee Guna Edwards. How you doing?
Hiya.
Hey,
Sorry
Lee.
about the delay.
hi Lee.
Hold on, give me 1 sec. I'll put myself on camera a minute. There we go.
Hey, nice one, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Hello.
Hi Lee.
Hey. Oh, it's a totally different person.
Okay, yeah, I can't see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an app that I've got on my phone. It's an app. It just like changes, like you can make yourself look younger, older, and it's just something that I've stuck with.
Oh,
That's what I'm gonna look like in another 40 years. I'll
Hey,
look like
he
that.
doesn't look like that. I don't think the Hangout actually saw it, but it just whipped on my phone for a second. But obviously, you know, Jin, I'm Karen.
I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I've known Jin for a few years now. Online anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Karen. I run the Sun and Moon and Unscrambled channel. We've got CC channel and we've got Amy.
Nice to
hi,
meet you all.
Lee.
Hey, Lee, nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Yeah. Now, I was trying to get Lee onto the Sun and Moon channel last year, I think it was, before your channel went down. Do you remember that, Karen? Do
Right. Okay. Yeah.
you remember
Don't
that?
remind me about the channel going down.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. But, you know, yeah,
Oh,
we were going to talk
Waited till we
about
were
Amelia
practically
Earhart.
10,000 subs and then leave the channel without a reason.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And we
oh.
were just going to talk about Amelia Earhart, you know, the famous pilot, yeah?
Yes.
I did a video on her. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now she actually mentioned flat Earth
Mhm.
in, you know, in her explanation as to why she had trouble with her plane when she tried to cross the Atlantic, right? And she said she could see like Ireland halfway across the Atlantic. She could already see Ireland.
Can I just say
Wow.
something, Jin?
Yeah.
When you look at the Tartaria maps, which showed up on this program I was watching with Miley,
Yeah.
I was watching. It was like that's when I realised Greenland had the 4 rivers in it. But anyway, they were showing you on their map. There was loads of islands between here and America. Don't show up on our maps right now. They could be the size of Mallorca or Ibiza. All
There you go.
even big. They're all in that water.
You
They're
go.
not showing it.
Look at that, amazing, yeah.
Mm.
And she said that, you know, she said that the Earth looked flat to her because the maps she was using didn't quite match her flight paths, is what she said. Okay, and then someone advised her to assume that the Earth was flat when you make your maps. That
Yeah.
was it, because she was always getting lost. She was renowned for getting lost a lot in her flying career. But she actually said that the Earth looked flat. She said it a few times.
Yeah, and that's
know?
why I brought it up in a video, is because I mean she was probably one of the first flat Earth females.
Yeah.
Who
Wow.
finally figured it out, and that's why they made
Yeah.
her, disappear real quick.
Then there's the woman
Which was
called
simple.
Andrea Barnes. There's another woman called Andrea Barnes.
Mhm.
She's credited for being the first female flat earther because she knew it was all a load of codswallop, and she didn't believe in the Earth spinning, and she got into what they called the dirigible. You know, the sausage-shaped airship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like a
Yes.
cigar-shaped thing, right? And she in New York, she did this in New York, where she stayed in there aloft for hours and hours, 24 hours, I think it was, and nothing happened. You know, the Earth didn't move, so she proved it. She went to Antarctica 3 times. 3 times. She died there the 3rd time she went at the age of 63,
Oh.
1961. She died in Antarctica.
I was going to say, what year was this?
Yeah.
1961. Okay, that was before they militarized.
It was
you know,
just when they
our
militarized it.
what?
It was just when they
Yeah,
militarized it.
just right around that exact time. Yeah, it was 50.
Yeah,
58.
she
Yeah,
died.
exactly.
She was 63 years old.
Yeah,
She
and that's
died. She went there on her own this time. That last time she went by herself. The first 2 times she went, she got all the sponsors and everything, got out there, but bad weather on both occasions put a stop to their expedition. She wanted to go to the edge. I can put the documentary in the back chat if you want it. It's called In Search of the Edge with Andrea Barnes. What a woman. But she died in the end. She went there on her own the last time. She couldn't give up on it.
Yeah.
She couldn't give up. She wanted to prove that the Earth was a level plane. Right? Andrea Barnes, another wonderful woman.
Yeah, well, Amelia
Wow.
Earhart. I mean, another one, and that's it. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I mean, it's kind of ironic because we haven't had anybody else since then. That really have come out and said, "Hey, look, I'm an
No, 'cause what we
aircraft."
had we had 2 world wars, and then we had the moon, and then we were a globe, and then we've got oil and petrol and all the other things now.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can I just
I mean,
ask, what's Lee's view on it all then?
Well, I've been looking into flat Earth since 2015, and like I can't go back on it. I cannot find any proof for a globe. So my stance on the whole thing is, yeah, it's flat. Um,
Yeah.
it's it's just blatantly obvious to me, and it's like growing up. I mean, I'll be 40 in 2 months, and growing up thinking that Australia is down under, like the upside down.
Right.
That always
Yeah.
it's a mind boggle. It's a massive mind boggle, and
Yeah.
even growing up as a young kid, it just looked weird. But then finding out with this flat Earth, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is what I've been thinking all my life.
Well,
Yeah.
Because it puts so many things in there, doesn't it? Because it's not, to me, it's not just about where we live. It's about everything, about, all the lies and the mates we're in. It covers, to me,
Yeah.
everything.
It does.
yeah.
It puts everything into perspective with what the governments are telling us and what they are not telling us, basically. Like, especially when with the moon landings and whatnot, and how many people still, even now, people are saying, "Oh yeah, they landed on the moon. I see it on TV." Oh, it just
Yes.
gets.
I
Oh,
saw it on the radio.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I heard it on the radio. Yeah,
yeah.
of course they did. Yeah, put some sand down, moved around. I mean, yeah, that's exactly, and that's that's the
Another,
proof and evidence
yeah,
that they have.
another amazing thing as well is how nowadays, with the ISS being 250 miles above the Earth, they've got a delay in the communication. Like when they do a
Mhm.
live with the communication on the ISS, they've got a delay. But they never had a delay when Richard Nixon phoned them on the moon. It was just like a
Yeah,
normal conversation,
exactly. And
288,000 miles
Right.
away.
Lee,
Yeah,
go on to the recent ISS. They just kind of gave up on the delay now at this point. I believe it was an 8-second delay or something.
yeah,
And
They
if
don't
you
have
go
a
on the
delay
recent,
now. There's no delay. The
they don't.
delay is
Yeah, there's
just
no
how long
delay.
it takes them to answer. So say they're on their CB
Exactly.
radios and the guy says something, it takes as long as that astronaut takes to answer. That's the delay, not the delay in the machinery.
yeah.
Yeah, and
See, they've actually picked up. They actually realise that people are onto them. That's the thing. We're onto
yeah,
them. You know.
and I'd love to know how Nixon contacted them by a landline. That's quite
Yeah,
interesting too.
yeah. That White House, the president, whoever's in that Oval Office, they must have so much, that phone in the Oval Office must be amazing. Yeah.
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 It's great. It's great. Tell me how the cameras got on the moon to record the actual Apollo 11 landing on the moon.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, it's just I mean, of all fucking things, I mean, really, you see a camera watching this land, and you don't look and say, "Shit, I've got to investigate this. This doesn't seem right." But they just buy it. They don't
They
care,
just play.
And they
Yeah.
had this technology back in 1969 where they can actually, when they launched off the moon, the camera went and followed. Do you know how the precision of the technology you would have to have, back then? And they said they're doing that by remote control back in 1969. We had Polaroid cameras back in 1989.
Mm.
Right. That's right.
I think there's a misconception here because when I'm looking at stuff in the 70s, they had all the how they mask things, how they make they were doing it in the 70s. I just think that we don't relate it because we're told that we didn't get it thousands, but they were
Yeah,
using it in the 70s.
yeah, they were using it in the 70s. They didn't come out with it in the 80s. I mean, we were listening. We had Polaroid. You remember the Polaroid disc cameras? I don't know if that ever hit your country at all. It was this disc, and it was
Yeah, I
very
remember
slow.
them.
Do you remember those? I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big technological advancement.
Breakthrough, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a breakthrough. But meanwhile, we had these cameras that were, panning the Apollo 11 with remote control. And show me that. I'd love to see that tripod, by the way. on the moon. I mean, hasn't China put a satellite up there with a position, camera? I thought they had something orbiting the fucking moon. It's just
No, they lied. That
the
was a lie
lies
in
around.
itself.
I remember growing up in the 80s, and we had a VCR, and the actual remote was on a wire. So, it must have
Yeah,
been a long
cable,
bloody
yeah.
wire that they had. Yeah, it used to be on, used to have a plug-in remote control for the actual VCR. Like, come on.
Yeah, our remote control was a slap round the side of the back of the TV. Bang it round the back, bang, bang. That was it.
Yes.
It is crazy though, isn't it? Like we're sitting here, when you try to explain something, you're laughing because it's just so ridiculous what we've been taught. But those many people believe what they've been taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the most annoying thing, I think, though, Karen, is because you're trying to talk to people and they look at you like you've got two heads, or you're like really like, oh no. Of course I believe in it. I saw it. I've seen the pictures. Like, yeah, I saw it. I've seen the picture. Now forget the pictures. Forget the TV. Think about it logically. Just think about it, and then there's sort of like sometimes you can get through to people, but a lot of the time there's not a chance. You know what I mean? You just know some people
That's right.
are gonna take information, but some people will not at all. It's mind-boggling.
So we've got to be on different frequencies then.
Well,
Could
that
be.
absolutely, that could
Yeah.
be, Karen. You're absolutely right. I mean, and how we open this frequency up to ourselves, where all of us, who are flat earthers, just come together. No matter, I mean, who cares? There's a lot of things that a lot of people disagree on, but there is that one thing: everything is fucking flat. We don't. There is no
Yeah.
space. We're covered with a dome.
We're not
I don't care.
moving.
We're not moving. I mean, whatever. I mean, that's the one, main premise with flat Earth, and in terms of whether there were dinosaurs, which is bullshit. I mean, I mean, we don't
Imagine
really.
frightening us with nuclear weapons and all that. Doing that.
No, more bullshit. I mean, really, come on. If we had something, just that's great. Our
Or
people don't
even
understand.
viruses.
Well,
And these
there's
viruses that
another
come out of
thing
nowhere.
with this pandemic. I'm absolutely sick of people walking around with like masks on and stuff. It's like doing themselves more damage wearing a mask than what it is
Lee,
just keeping a distance from people. To be honest.
Lee, may
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Where are you from? Are you in the U.S. or?
UK.
Oh, you're in the. Oh, okay. You're in the UK.
Yeah,
And
Northern England. Northern England.
Northern England.
Which is like, yeah. Is it
So,
Burnley? Is it Burnley, Lee?
Yeah, near Manchester.
Near Manchester.
Manchester. Okay, great. So yeah, and I have some friends out there. I'm dealing with about 95% that are walking around with face masks now, where a month ago it was only about, I don't know, 40, if that.
Bloody hell, it's crazy.
When I was at the
That's
park,
crazy, man.
when I was at the park, I'd say 10% of the people were wearing the masks and 90% weren't. But when you go out and you see all these people in masks, I just feel so insulted because they think we're dangerous.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, really,
I'd say here in Japan where I am, it's about 30, 40% of people are wearing masks. But when they're driving, no one's wearing masks when they're driving.
Jin, we got face masks and gloves while you're driving. Alone.
Oh.
That is too much, man. Come on.
I told you originally when I created this channel, Westchester County, New York is the most trained people that I've ever met in my entire life. Ever. And that's why I just had to get out there and to explain it to people. I mean, I can't believe I'm around zombies. All of them are zombies. Sorry.
People like queuing up outside the supermarkets, literally queuing for like an hour. If you're at the back of the queue, you're literally waiting there for an hour to get in the supermarket. It's absolutely ridiculous. But it's
that's mad.
And some people's personalities are going, stay away from me, stay away. You got that feeling that's what they're saying. Don't get close to me. Keep that 2 meters.
Yeah.
And then they go in the shop.
But then, actually, when you actually get in the supermarket, then they're all walking next to each other and like pushing the shopping carts next to each other and whatnot. It's like, what? So you've been queuing outside for an hour, but now you're standing next to the person you was queuing outside with, right next to him, literally,
Right.
while you're shopping. You know,
Mhm.
it doesn't seem
You get
right.
the dodgy ones with the masks on who are whipping round so they can get away. You get those ones. I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's out of order.
And what they've done is they've made all like the kiosk where you go to pay. You've now got really you're supposed to stand 2 meters away, so you're supposed to lean across all the time. And they've got these see-through plastic things, like as if that's going to stop it. They're
No.
telling us we're criminals.
A bit of perspex. Yeah.
And have you seen the way
you don't want to touch it either because you're going to get it all over your face.
That's right. That's right. You know, because it lives on
Yes.
surfaces now 7 to 14 days. But now the doctors say, no, it's only a couple of days now. But with these plexiglass shields that they now have around these cash registers, are those ever going to come down, or are they up there permanently at this point? Because I've seen the precision of the building on these. You know, this was not something that was done overnight. I mean, they put some time and effort into these plexiglass shields for these cashiers.
Yeah.
Another thing,
I keep forgetting they're there. I keep banging my head against them.
another thing, I was telling you, Jin.
Yeah, they
remember,
clean them well, though.
Jin, the other week I was telling you about the actual like one-way systems in the stores now as well. They've got like this one-way system,
that's right.
and these stickers that have gone down on the floor.
Yes, they keep changing them, don't they? You know, like every time you go back to the shop, they've done something. They've changed the direction, or they put more stickers down, or it's all crazy. We're getting further and further into what I see.
Yep.
There's
I remember I went to the shop the other week, and just when it was all first starting, actually, so a couple of months ago, when it was first starting with this every 2 meter distance and whatnot, and I tried to give the cashier a banknote, and she said, "Just put it on the counter, please." She had gloves on, but she's like, "Can you put the note on the counter?" So I had to I just threw it on the counter. I just threw the banknote. There you go. And she literally put the change back on the counter, so I had to sort of reach over, like you say, and try and get the change. Ridiculous. They're handling money. They've got gloves on anyway.
Well, that's
so.
Sorry.
It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
It defies logic, doesn't it? Look,
does.
they're going to handle the money. Someone's put the money, in their pocket. They pick it off the tray. They're going to put it in the till, and later on they're going to give that to someone else anyway. So why don't I just give it to them in the hand? Why do we need to put it on a tray on it? Just put it in your hand. There's no difference.
Well, they think that the tray might somehow or another magically sanitize it before it enters your pocket. But I mean,
I refused to take that sanitizer stuff the other day, and he gave me a pair of gloves. But I wanted the gloves because I can dye my hair with them. But
you were better off. You were better off when you left.
Gave me a free pair of plastic gloves.
That's right.
I'm just surprised the media hasn't brought up the fact with coins. You know, coins are a big thing. We get change all the time when you pay with cash. You know,
but they have sponsored, haven't they? Because they're trying to turn us into a moneyless society at the same time.
Of course, cashless society.
Yep.
And that's step one. You know, I mean, there are many steps to this. They're not. But
why do they put that in? Like, look, as much as possible, while we're in this pandemic, can you please pay by your credit card and let's just try not to use money? I mean, that seems more logical to be talking about these things and what's happening with the economy. We're just not talking about, and the thing is, what people don't realise is they filmed this months ago. This is why they've got no feelings in anything, because they didn't film it when it was happening. I'm telling you, if it was really going on, Boris would be different, Trump would be different. Everything's planned, it's always little speeches, it's all about trillions and millions, which we can never really think of. I mean, can you imagine, if I gave you $20 or $100 or £100, you'd be, wow, thanks. You can't imagine what $1 million looks like. It's all millions and billions and it's just like, and then you have to listen to what they're really telling you in the millions and billions. I don't think people are listening. They're just, obviously it's going over their head or something.
Well, of
Yes.
course it is.
Right now, it's
Everything's
all
going over there. They haven't got a
China's fault.
clue what's going on.
It's all China's
what-
fault, right? Even on it, they've got this 0.3, right? And
Right.
also, like, I've had Trump moaning about London when I told you that Boris is saying pluralism and we're a tech country, and now he doesn't want England to have the trade. It's like, what's going on? I thought these people were bosom buds and worked together. Something
I
weird is going
know.
on at the moment. I thought, Boris taking over. Is that what's happening?
I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on there. I
maybe.
think they're just working together. It's just another ploy, another distraction.
Well,
Because
remember,
some
there.
people put comments in and they say, at this rate, America's going to be a third world country.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Well, this
We're
is it.
well on our way. I
Yes.
mean, it was originally. I mean, we're well on our way here in America.
Yeah.
Just take a walk around outside. I mean, do you feel safe in some of these, towns that I grew up in, where my grandmother used to, bring me in a carriage inside some of these towns, and I wouldn't go in there right now after
I mean, there are
8
people.
o'clock.
Right.
There are people in the US, right, who are
Yeah.
heartbroken that they have to go and get unemployment benefit, unemployment money.
Yeah.
60 years in business brought down to they're bankrupt. They're having
Yeah.
to go and get money from
Yes.
the handouts. You know,
40
It's
million.
ridiculous. They've
Yeah.
forced it, but yet Walmart's open. They've always been open, and I mean,
I know.
Kmart's open. All these big places have always been open. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I brought
Amazon,
this up.
eBay, YouTube.
All of them, Facebook,
That's
Twitter. I mean, none of that. This is all social networking. This is the only way, supposedly, we can keep in contact with each other. But the one thing that really annoys me is that I think it was January or February, this Walmart up in Fishkill, New York. It's about an hour and a half away from me, and they started setting up these exit barriers that were counting people coming out of the store. I don't know if they were counting people coming in, but they were counting people coming out, because I noticed numbers,
Wow.
digital shit, and they set that up. So I mean, all these big box stores were in on all of this. They knew this was coming. They wouldn't put
Yeah.
that. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars to do that with every Walmart around in the U.S.
Yeah, they knew it was
And,
coming. They knew it was coming.
yeah.
They knew.
So I mean, it's so obvious that, I mean, nobody saw any. I mean, they did the sheep. Man, I'm gonna start yelling and screaming. Don't. Okay, I'm gonna relax.
That's how
Okay,
we all feel,
all
though.
right.
That's
Deep
how
breath.
we all
All
feel.
right.
I feel like shouting and screaming because it's like, Karen, you're in the UK, yeah?
I am.
Karen. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
on a Thursday night, on your street, people standing on their doorstep, clapping.
Wednesday, you mean? The nurse clapping for the NHS, that one.
Yeah,
Yes, we have that here at 7 o'clock every
Yeah.
night, 7 o'clock, and I look at it, I'm like, great.
Every
You're
night.
clapping
What a load of crap.
every night. These sheeple are clapping out there. So are you clapping for me? For what?
Yeah.
I'm doing my job, okay? I'm not a fucking hero here. I'm doing my job because I got to get paid, and I don't want to lose my job. And I'm taking. It's bullshit. It's these trained. Okay.
It's not
Bloody monkey.
clapping, it's why they're clapping. And they don't realise that they're clapping for a load of rubbish.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we should have been clapping every week.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is where did this all come from? I don't. Did one of the politicians in New York say something that you should do this at 7 o'clock at night? Where?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's it. Where did it? You're right. You're right there.
Exactly.
Where did it come from?
Where did
Is
it
it just
come
like
from?
everyone's spontaneously thought, "Oh, I'll go to my door and start clapping. Maybe others will follow." And then all of a sudden,
mad.
people are clapping, and it's
Yeah,
really
With their-
funny because
With their pots and pans and wooden
Yeah,
floats.
exactly.
Come on.
it's like,
Come on.
That's what I'm hearing, and I'm like, why 7 o'clock? I don't get home at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I could get home at 10 o'clock one night. So 5 o'clock. I don't understand the madness behind that, and who came up with it, and who said something. It must be a politician or CNN or one of these train networks.
I've had
Absolutely
people.
so.
I've heard fireworks going off. When people are clapping and literally fireworks off and like cheering, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry,
This is mad,
I
isn't it?
don't mean
They're
to
locked in
offend.
their houses and they're cheering, tapping pots and pans with wooden spoons, setting off fireworks. I mean,
Mm,
And it's
it is.
this is crazy, man.
I'm out there with my significant other and my daughter, and I'm like, oh man, you know what? You don't, and then they won't have anything to do with it. At least they know that's bullshit. I
Yeah,
mean, total nonsense. But yeah, no,
yeah.
it's amazing. I just want to know who brought this up. I got to find this out. Is it 7 o'clock in all in your countries at all, or?
It's not happening here.
8
We don't have
p.m.
it here.
8
No
p.m.
one's, no one's
It
tapping
comes
anything here.
past 8 p.m. on that. The clap is stupid thing. There's less people clapping nowadays, though.
Yes, I've noticed that there's not as many, but they're still doing it. Because I look out my window and I'm like having a look. I don't go to the door because they might look at me like, "Why you're not clapping?" Whoa,
Why would I clap? What for? What am I clapping
And
for?
why are you not? And why are you not wearing a face mask and
Yeah.
No,
gloves?
I'll just tell them. I'll
Don't
just
walk
tell them now.
outside.
I'll tell them you've got a 0.003% chance of contracting the virus now, today, now.
You've
So
got,
you've got no bloody chance. So why
Jin,
would you be
you've
wearing
got
a
more
mask?
chance. You've got more chance of catching it because of your color of your skin. That's what they say as well.
I
Yeah, they
know.
were saying that in New York. I was like, what?
Yep.
Are they bringing it now to this? I mean, they
Yeah,
want us
just
to be
ridiculous.
divided. They want us to be segregated. They want us to be against each other. I mean, originally when Trump was elected here in the US, we were 50-50. Then they bring this disease up, and then they say that certain people can get it more than this. I just
Bullshit.
I just don't total bullshit. It's bringing us all against each other, and people who are not flat earthers, that are just these zombies that are walking around,
Yeah.
that just think they think everything that these networks are saying
Like
are
you said
true.
earlier,
Like,
Steve,
fuck.
sheeple. Yep, all go
Yeah.
around following each other, doing the same thing that
Bah,
the other person
bah,
is doing.
bah, bah,
They're all
bah.
sheep. Yep,
Meh, meh, bah.
yep.
Bad. So it really no. It's a shame.
All queuing up like robots.
Amy, so I just saw
Yeah.
Amy flicker her microphone. Amy, do you want to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry, Amy. I want you
Yeah,
to.
sorry.
Amy?
Oh,
Oh,
she's fed up of
I
waiting.
saw her
Go.
microphone.
No, she's there.
She's having a
Yeah,
cup
I
of
saw
tea.
her microphone go off and on. Maybe she didn't mean to touch
I
him.
like a nice cup of tea in the morning. Yeah.
It's
I got.
absolutely crazy. All of this is crazy.
It is.
Oh, it certainly is. It is for sure. It's mad. I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm not that idiot tapping my pots and pans with food,
Yeah.
with yesterday's dinner still in it.
Yeah, I know. With the burnt chili still in there.
Come on,
I'm
come
just.
on, folks. What
I
have we come to?
I was thinking to myself when I was taking a shower this morning, and I was like, if I wasn't a flat earther, what would be my reaction to this?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just trying to get back to that zone, and you never can get back to that, because I mean,
you
you
can't.
No.
You
you've
can't.
said goodbye to that person who just,
Absolutely.
you
You can never go
just
back there.
can't.
You can't.
You,
You
you,
can't.
you
There's
just
no way
can't.
back. It's locked. It's gone.
And
It's impossible.
I was just wondering. I mean, I don't think I would have even bought that when before I even became a flat earther. So I would still be
Oh, no.
fighting, but I wouldn't really know what I would be fighting about. I mean, because people don't
Yeah.
understand. I mean, I see people that are walking around without masks. And I mean, that is the minority right now. If you're not wearing a
Yeah.
mask here in New York, you are a minority at this point.
Yeah.
The odd one out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are being socially disrespectful.
Yeah,
The odd one out.
absolutely, and that's what they've even said on the news. I was listening to a very big news station here in New York, and they say, I mean, you're doing a disrespect for if you're not wearing a mask because you're endangering other
Yeah.
people's health,
Yeah.
and I'm like, fuck you. No, we're not.
Oh no.
I mean, really, at this point,
Yeah. I was reeling. Yeah. I I went off like a volcano. I said, you what? So you can't even be fit and you're still going to be spreading it around. Even though you know you're fit, you're looking after your health, you've got no disease, but you're still spreading it around.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. What a load of crap.
Come here, let me cough
Exactly,
in your
Jim.
face and piss in your mouth.
It's
You
funny.
get me started. Oh, shit.
It's funny, right? Because you say that you can't go back from the flat Earth, but me and Jin know someone that's gone back, don't we, Jin?
I know a few people have gone
No,
back now. I've known
but
3 people that
but
have gone back.
one in particular that's
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say his name.
Yeah.
I
don't
don't know
know.
who it is. We had somebody.
It's called Jamie Brown.
Well, there you go,
I
right.
don't know who
No,
he is.
Karen might.
Yeah, he went back. He went back. Now, Jamie Brown was, a big name back in like 2015, 14.
Yep.
Sorry, 15, 16. Big name for the flat Earth.
Yeah.
And then he went back.
And he did a lot of flat Earth meetups.
There you go.
And all that sort of thing. And then one day he just said on his channel, on his YouTube channel, he's like, "Oh, maybe it's a globe after all." And you should have seen the amount of subscribers that you actually lost that night. It was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He made it into a business, obviously. I mean, I have people that are, ripping my channel, my videos and trying to create something for them to get subs. And I'm like, you came to the wrong place. I only have like a little over 2,000 subs. So if you think you're going to make a name for yourself by taking a video of me and ripping through it and saying whatever you're going to say, fine, good. That's great. I wish I had 100 more of you. Really.
Yeah.
All you're doing is giving me exposure. And no.
Furthering the cause. You're furthering the cause.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually have new subs now that have said I would have never even known you if it wasn't because of somebody else taking one of your videos. I'm a flat earther, and that's why I subbed. And I'm like, hey, good, great, beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's get out there, change the world. Let's get out there and inform people. That's what we got to do. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Go out there, pushing the real narrative, and that is the Earth is not a spinning ball.
No.
Once they get that in their heads,
Do you ever remember learning about the Coriolis effect? No.
You know what? I was talking about that yesterday. Look at this, right? Because I was in that server, and I think Lee was there. You remember, Lee? You.
Oh yes.
Yesterday, right? Now, I was talking about the Coriolis effect, right? And I said I was in the military, and we did long distance target shooting, and we never ever took in the Coriolis effect ever. All we took into consideration was the munition, the size of the round, right? The distance, the elevation, and wind speed. That was it.
Yeah. And no curvature at all whatsoever.
No, zero. Right? So yeah, man, that was a surprise to me. Coriolis effect. I laughed when I heard it.
Yeah, and you know what? Nobody can actually determine where it actually begins, because how the fuck are these helicopters being? How can planes land? Where are the pilots? How the pilots are not trained to figure out how to land a plane, and the Coriolis effect.
Of course not. It would be dangerous.
There's no way.
Come on, the Earth is spinning. You can't land.
No,
it's a crash every time. Come on.
Your tires would be destroyed. It just doesn't. None of this ever made any sense to me when I actually investigated and researched it.
You couldn't do it.
And
there's a U.S. Marine, right? There's a U.S. Marine, weapons expert. He's a flat earth shaman. His name is, okay, and he put down a $20,000 challenge to any sniper or anybody who thinks he's a good shot to prove to him the Coriolis effect exists. But he's going to tell you what target to hit, and he wants to see you using all your mathematics and that and hit the target. Right? $20,000 challenge. It's still there. No one's taking him up on it.
Yeah,
and he's going to ask you to shoot east, west, north, and south. 4 targets. They got to hit, proving the Coriolis effect. Now, there's one video only of a U.S. Marine saying that the Coriolis effect does exist, but you'll notice it's only a 5-minute video. It's the only one that's there. It's been there since 2015, I think. He shoots east and he shoots west, or should I say shoots west and then east. He doesn't shoot north-south though. Why not? Because that's really going to prove your Coriolis effect, yeah? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Earth spin. When you shoot north and the Earth is spinning eastwards, your target, your bullet, your projectile is going to should be heading to the left. To the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you shoot south and the Earth is spinning, it should again to the left. If you go south, head east. You see what I mean? But he never shot north-south. So
yeah, no, that's what I was saying, south and north. And you know, another thing is just when I bring up the helicopter effect, you know, and I'm saying, well, you know, helicopters can't actually, and I buy it. You know, look, I'm not an air pilot, you know, an air pilot control, you know, whatever. Right. But I buy it because the winds, you know, a few thousand feet up from us are a lot. Yeah, that's natural. You know, I mean, the wind speed is moving at a certain amount, but it's not the wind speed. It's just the whole effect that has been invented. You're talking 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah,
you're not talking 50 miles per hour. You're not talking 80 miles per hour. I don't give a shit how much the winds are moving up there. 1,000 miles per hour. That is bottom line. Rest my case. That's the Coriolis effect. And 1,000 miles per hour on a conventional helicopter with a stupid little shit gas engine, one gas engine, by the way, is not going to hold you up there. It's just not going to. I'm sorry. Forget about it.
You're going to be blown to pieces.
When you start thinking about things, you realise nothing adds up.
No.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. That's right. There was an experiment conducted. There was an experiment or a test, a demonstration conducted back in the early 1900s, okay? David Woodlow Scott, the name is, right? He had a cannon mounted skywards, pointing skywards, right? And he shot the cannonball up, and it went up for 14 seconds, and then it came back down for 14 seconds, okay? 28 seconds in the air, in England. Now, England's latitude, the speed there would be 600 miles an hour. Away from the equator at 1,000, right? Okay. Right. So he shot the cannonball up and it landed about a foot or two away from the cannon. And on 2 occasions, it fell back into the barrel. Right. And they said if the Earth was moving at 600 miles an hour, in 28 seconds, that cannonball should have landed 5 miles away, west from the cannon.
Yeah, exactly. And when that. Exactly, and then that's also with the weather balloons that we send up to the atmosphere that are going up. Like the last one I think we sent was going up 121,000 feet, which is, I don't know the math. It's got to be at least a little over two miles, maybe.
Yeah,
2.5 miles, somewhere around there.
How many thousand feet did you say? How many?
Yeah, so when it came down and landed after the balloon exploded, because these, you know, helium balloons, they don't go up very high, just a couple of miles. I mean, they found it like maybe a couple of thousand miles. I mean, a couple of thousand feet away from where they actually launched this thing. And you have to put in effect, yeah, look, the winds are moving, you know, pretty quickly up there. I mean, you're talking 2 miles up, they must be going at least 50 miles per hour up there, 100 miles per hour with the atmosphere. But still, this thing should have been in fucking China. We're talking 2 hours worth of rotation of 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
All right. So, or at least in one of the oceans, you know, whether it be in the Atlantic or the Pacific, but yet it lands 2,000 feet away from, you know, where they are. And I'm like, fuck. So where does this Coriolis effect begin? You know, where does the space actually bleed? Yeah. Where is it? We don't see it. We just been brought up with these diagrams, these pictures, CGI. SpaceX is taking off. I'm sorry, I got to bring it up again. Those motherfuckers. I hate this Elon Musk.
I know what you mean.
SpaceX.
He's doing it in my body to test this guy.
Jesus,
he's doing
it
again.
26 or how many satellites he's supposed to have sent up? They're all following each other in a line. They're above the ISS. So how the fuck can you see them from the Earth when you can't even see the ISS from the Earth?
Well, I get that all the time, and they say, you know, look, we focused in on something that's passing the moon. And I'm like, yeah, you have. It's there. I don't know what it is, but it's not the fucking ISS. If it was, you wouldn't be able to see it because
That's a
it's only the
balloon.
size of a well,
That's it. I was
the
getting to
size of
that,
a football field.
balloons. Yeah. It's all
And I mean,
17,000, not
mm,
1,000,
17,000 miles
17,500
an
miles an
hour.
hour.
Yeah.
You're
wow.
not, you know, and the average airliner flies at 500 miles an hour. So, you know, you're talking what, 13 times, 14 times that?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know. It's just, look, just research. That's all I can tell people is just research. There's nothing, there's no maps that we have. We can't come up with a map. We can't go down there. It's all been militarized. If we even enter Antarctica or even come close to it within a mile radius, we're going to have a battleship that's going to come against us. And none of us can afford to buy a battleship, which is
You'll have a submarine coming towards you, mate.
yeah, a submarine or a
They're
fucking
patrolling it
rocket.
with
Who
the
the hell knows?
nuclear subs down there. They know
But
you're
yet,
there. They know you're there.
You know how bad it is. We all surrendered overnight without the army, the police, or anyone. We surrendered
Stay
overnight.
at home.
yeah, and
Stay at home. We advise everyone to stay at home. And what did people do? Stay at home. The streets were
exactly.
empty. At the first, the streets were empty. Literally. It's
New
like
York City, empty.
ghost towns everywhere. They shut all the businesses down.
Mhm.
And I still go to my mum's house once a week to see my mum. I'm not going to
Excellent.
stop doing that. And I go to my brother's house once a week. I'm not going to, stop seeing him. I'm not going to stop doing that until.
What about the horses? What about the horses?
Oh well, yeah, Lena, my wife, she's been attending to the horses because I've had to stay at home because the kids are at home because the schools are shut. And when the schools eventually do open, it's going to be 6 months. It's like 6 months. It's like
Is that what they're saying? 6 months in the UK? Shit, that is unacceptable.
March. So it was like beginning of March.
Yeah.
Beginning of March, and it's going to be the new term, like secondary school, is going to be September.
September, yeah.
Start of the new year. It's the start of the new term.
New curriculum, new
yeah,
term,
next year.
It's the new academic year, isn't it?
Academic year. That's the one I was trying to get to, Gene. Thanks. Yeah, but it's like it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like my wife is saying, "Oh, you can't go out. You can't go to your mom's." Well, why not? Oh, you might get stopped by the police. Well, what the police gonna fucking do?
Yeah, you guys have it tough out there in the UK. I don't, because they can't police us here.
People say
They
that
do.
we've taken on the rules the worst. You know, like they've been very.
Yeah.
That's true, Karen. Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
you have, because they've been revolting out here. And they've been putting their videos and whatever, because all the cops around here now have the live cam. You know, they've been given
Like
this
video cam, body cam.
yeah, live video cam. It's a body cam. They've been putting this up for the last about a year, I think they were. But yeah, I mean they're doing live feed now on YouTube, where if somebody comes up to you and says anything in terms of your social distancing or anything like that, it's going to be on YouTube live immediately. So they, the police don't know how to react to this, because I'm not saying cops are bad. You know, they're being told to do something that really is beyond the constitutional rights of people, and they don't understand this. And some of them kind of understand it, and they'll just not even pay attention to it. But the constitutional rights here in America have been broken, and people don't realize that, and they just fall into it, and they've become sheeple. And and when I first came in here, depressing to see. You know, I mean, just people just bow down and put their tail in between their legs and just say, yeah, okay, I obey. And it really is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all your rights are gone. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that they took it. Everyone's just taking it. No one's standing up.
Mhm.
Well, a few have. A few states have protested, and there's been a few protests in the UK and around the world, you know, but not to the levels I was expecting.
No, I was expecting a lot more here. I mean, I know we've got Michigan State that really have been protesting. We have Vermont, we've got Colorado, which I don't hear a lot about. I'm surprised Colorado, because that's where they made marijuana legal out there. So I think it's a lot more relaxed out there. California is kind of, I don't know what's going
Very
on the West Coast.
very
Uh,
relaxed in California.
yeah,
But that was
Texas.
wasn't California one of the first states that actually literally like made people stay indoors? I'm sure it was
I
California.
think I think you're right. I think you're right. You know, because we were the statistic where in New York we were, ground zero apparently from what they said,
Yeah,
which I think
Yeah.
personally was bullshit to begin with anyway. But anyway, that's where they say it, came from, and that's, I mean, I'm saying my state itself is probably going to be the very last state to reopen everything, and when it does reopen, what is going to happen? I mean, are people going to, I mean, are you a restaurant owner who deals with filling tables and having such a large overhead? You're going to only allow the state and the politicians to tell you can only fill it up 50%?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
And
they said, 25%, 50%
yeah.
yeah,
Because
in stages.
the
in
table,
stages.
Oh.
So you've got no choice.
the tables will be a distance from each other. They
Two
will be.
meters, I
This
think
is
it
what,
is. I
yeah,
think.
this is what they're going to do, though. This is exactly what they're planning. With the small businesses, and you can go into a supermarket, and most supermarkets have like cafes, whatnot in the UK, but there will be socially distancing in every business. It's like maybe in a small shop or store, and it's like what 2 or 3 people at a time. If you're the fourth person, you can't go in until one comes out. So it's one in, one out, one in, one out type of thing.
And yeah, and Lee, they do have lines here where you're waiting 45 minutes
Yeah,
to actually walk into the store because of the social distancing.
yeah,
And
exactly.
but yet
Yeah,
you can go down to the street to one of these, kind of like, I mean, it's not a deli, it's almost like it's a very small, a mom and pop grocery store, and some of them are still open, where you just go in and get what you need. If you need milk, bread, or butter or something like that, you get it in there. But I mean, I see lines of people that are separated 6 feet from each other, and
yeah,
I'm just looking at it and I'm like, oh fuck. I mean, why would you waste your time? I see lines for the only thing that was originally open here in Yonkers were Starbucks. I mean, I saw. Do you remember the gas crisis back in the 1970s? I mean, I was only about 7 years old.
I remember
But
it. I remember it.
yeah, okay, all right. And Hurricane Sandy was the same thing here in New York, where there were gas lines that went on for like a mile. I mean, I'm not joking about it. A fucking mile on the throughway to get gas. And
Yeah. We
that's what
couldn't get paraffin to heat the house up because I had to go and
yeah,
buy paraffin, but there was no paraffin to heat the house.
yeah, no,
You know?
it's just unbelievable. And I see this line just to get freaking Starbucks,
Yeah, it's
which is
mad, isn't
the
it?
worst coffee I've ever tasted to begin with anyway. I mean, in my life.
yeah, yeah.
And not only that, it's like $10. What the fuck? And I mean,
It's
you have
mad, isn't
this
it? $10 for
madness,
poison.
madness,
$10 of
madness.
poison.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's mad out there, really is. I do remember the fuel crisis, because in England, I was like 9 years old when that happened, and
Hmm.
I was the one that used to go and get the paraffin for our paraffin heaters at home. You see,
Really?
I'd probably go and get a couple of gallons. So and I had to carry it back. But the petrol station, I went. I probably walked about 4 miles, and as a kid, that's a long way. Yeah, looking for
Yeah, four
paraffin.
miles. Damn.
Yeah, but no petrol. I had to come back. Came back empty-handed. All the
Mm.
pumps were empty. Yeah, for days and days and days.
Yeah, Hurricane Sandy blew out the electricity here, so a lot of the gas stations didn't have a generator. There were only a couple of gas stations that actually carried a generator, and that was the main thing, that they didn't have the electricity to pump the gas. And the ones that did, it was just overwhelmed with people. But thank God for my dad. He said, Chris, before this storm came in, go fill your tank up, because he went through the 70s and he
Yeah,
understood. And he's a smart man. He
yeah,
really, he saved me a hardship. I was
yeah.
like, yeah, man.
My car's full up now. Because you don't know what's going to happen. But I
I
filled my
try to
car
do
up
it every
yesterday.
night. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
fill it up with gas. That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
But,
I filled mine up yesterday, but I don't fill it up every day. You know, once a month. That's it. I don't use it that much now. You know,
yeah, I do it.
no point now. Kids are not going to school. No judo run. Nothing's happening. So the car's just getting used. Laundry run, and that's it, really.
Yeah, I try to, you know, nothing below a half a tank. Just try to keep it up there, at least a 3/4.
Yeah, in your business, I think it's wise to do that as well. Really, you know.
Mhm.
You know, obviously.
I just got a text message. I got to get. I have to start cooking.
Okay. What's for dinner then today?
Sticky lemon chicken tonight.
Ooh,
I'm coming round for
lemon
dinner.
chicken.
Yeah, mashed
Lemon
potatoes,
chicken, that's nice.
and
Nice. Yeah.
I have my herbs growing on the you know, on the terrace right now. So I'm gonna get the. I don't have to go out and buy parsley or thyme or
Well,
anything like that.
we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes, so maybe we can wrap up right now and we can
Is
all
that how
go.
long it's
Nice
been?
one, Carol.
All
That's
right,
really
excellent
good.
work. I didn't even realize we've been on that long.
Yeah,
It
we've been
goes so
going on
quick, the time. It
forever.
really
No, I'm only
does.
joking. It's been a real pleasure. I wonder if Amy's there, or maybe she's having her dinner. Amy, she'll come on if she's there, but she has muted something, or maybe
Yeah.
something's happened. But thank you so much, Amy. Thank you so much, Cece. Thank you so much,
My
Lee and
pleasure, Karen.
Jim. Mwah,
Yeah,
mwah, mwah, mwah.
thanks.
Been a
Chat
pleasure.
Thanks
room.
very much. Mwah, everybody.
Mwah. Amazing conversation. Hope
Yeah.
everybody gets this. Just hope, people
And
get it
once
all.
again, those of you who turned up in the chat room again, great, nice one, man. Thanks for listening.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
Cece?
Thanks for listening too.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me on, and thanks, Jin, for giving me the link. But I hope to maybe come on again sometime when you're on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, cool.
Brilliant. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this hangout. I'm going to end the hangout now. So,
Okay,
mwah,
bye
to the
everyone.
chat room.
Stay
Thank you,
safe,
everybody
everyone.
on the
Look after
panel.
your health. Main point, look after your health and be happy if you can.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, then. Thank you, guys.